So I put this off for a few days now, and I didn't think I was gonna talk about this, but here we are. I finally saw Moonfall, which came out earlier this year, like February or some shit, like really early in this year. I remember seeing the trailer. I don't know, the last time I was actually in the theaters, and being like, okay, some kind of, it's Roland Emmerich, so it's gonna be, like it's gonna look cool and all that shit, and all that stuff, but it's gonna be fucking ridiculous. Um, Also, I was like, okay, well, for the moon to fall into Earth, it's gonna have to be something obviously catastrophic. It's gonna be something crazy. You're like, the whole like, okay, maybe an asteroid comes and it like knocks the moon off its orbit or whatever shit, and it starts barreling down at us. Awesome, right? It's gonna be something terrible like that. Nope, it's not. Something dumber. Really dumb. But anyway, like I said, this movie's not good. By now, if you haven't seen the movie, whatever. Spoilers, here we go. So, anyway, yeah, so this movie stars Halle Berry and Patrick Wilson, which is like, okay, good actors, all that stuff. The only upside I could say about this movie is just seeing Patrick Wilson in a nice tight white t-shirt and his lovely titties. That's really it. Like I said, like the effects, like Roland Emmerich, it just, the moment, like, CGI caught up enough to make water look like CGI water look like the real thing or whatever, or what, to behave however he wants water to behave, then he was like golden. Um, so the movie starts off. It feels like Gravity, the movie Gravity, where okay, they're on a spacewalk and stuff happen. They're fixing things and stuff, and then something weird shows up, and causes like something to happen. They get knocked off, and it's like, oh my god, and then like they're, Halle Berry is fine, and Patrick Wilson is fine, but like the third guy who's like, you might as well call him a red shirt, just he dies. And I remember like what shows up, I was like, huh? You know? Because initially, like, it appeared to be like just flying space debris, and that does happen. That does happen. That does happen, in real life, space debris does, come at you and all that shit. But it wasn't, and I was like, you're just like, oh, this is something else. Oh god. You're already like, oh no, I know exactly. Oh no, oh no. And you're not even like 5 minutes in. You're like, oh god, no. This is like, this is the path we're going. Like, fuck. So, the movie's about how Patrick Wilson, is no longer an astronaut because he got like, I guess, discharged. I don't know if you get like dishonorably discharged, like you're in like the armed forces as an astronaut, but like he pretty much like, he lost his job. He's the laughing stock of NASA kind of thing, because he's like, he was the only guy to ever land a space shuttle without power, and like all this, like, oh my god, like the fall from grace thing. And we all love like watching like a Cinderella story of someone climbing up, but we love to watch him fall kind of shit. So talk of the town of like this, blah blah blah, right? Sucks. Um, and then like Halle Berry, I think she still has a job, but like, yeah, she still has a job because she just like passed out during that, and like she's still cool with Patrick Wilson, but and while everyone else is like, why do you still talk to him? He risked your job. Sure, why not, right? Let's see, yeah. So the I forgot what character he played on Game of Thrones, but the chubby guy. He I love that he wasn't gonna even try to play American. He was just like, nope, I'm a Brit in America, conspiracy theorist, and that also added on to me being like, oh god, this is what the movie's gonna be, and not even in like a Randy Quaid Independence Day, like, I was abducted by the aliens, because then it turns out that obviously aliens are real, and all that stuff. So like he was like, you know, a little fucked up character, a little hacky kind of dude, but like the shit he said turned out to be real. I mean, although this movie does the same, but at the same time, it's Independence Day, it's like, I got abducted by aliens. An alien showed up, and then things happen, right? Whereas this was just like, it's like, you know, you might as well do the whole flat Earth thing, the whole, like, Earth is actually, you know, the hollow Earth, you know, theory, and the blah, blah, blah. So, like, yeah, he runs, like, a conspiracy theory thing, and he, like, breaks into NASA to be, like, a, I was a construction worker, to be a janitor, and then, like, accesses, like, stuff and finds out, like, the moon's orbit is different. Like, okay, okay, cool. He's a conspiracy theorist, but, like, his weird thing is true. Okay, shit. Alright. Patrick Wilson, who is no longer an astronaut, but he still has, obviously, scientific credentials and all that stuff. He does, like, you know, little talks, like, for kids. Like, he'll go and be like, hi, kids, I was a former astronaut, and let me tell you about space travel. And kids are like, did you ever go to the moon? You know, that kind of shit. But anyway, so he meets up with conspiracy theorist guy, and then he's just like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, the conspiracy theorist dude believes that the moon is man-made and is a, was it like a a large structure? It's like an alien thing that was made into a structure and then disguised as like a moon. And it's like, oh god. And he's right. He's right. I hate that he's right. In the sense of this movie, not in reality, of course. But he's right. The reason why the moon falls is because what you saw in the beginning of the movie, which you thought was space debris, really looked like you heard me. Like, remember in Event Horizon, in the core of the spaceship, where it was like black, and then it's like when you get that black viscous stuff and you put a magnet towards it, it does that like shit to it. It's like that, but in outer space. And it kind of acts like the Venom symbiote thing, you know? And you're like, oh, okay, so Venom is the reason why the moon knocked out of orbit, because it killed the dude, it all fangly did lead Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry out of their work thing, you know, and then it just sucked back in to the moon. You know, like you do. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be stupid to be like, the moon falls to Earth and fucks everything up. Okay, so the Earth, like, we end up dying, funny enough, not because of our own issues, because of, you know, aliens. Because aliens built the moon. Because the the Venom symbiote thing comes out and does some shit and goes back into the moon. What? Like, what? So, Patrick Wilson's character ends up believing the conspiracy theorist guy, because he found out with the numbers and stuff that he figured out before NASA that the moon da-da-da. Then Halle Berry is like, I'm checking, you know, clickety-clack, I'm checking the notes. Oh my god, he's right. So then it's like, oh god, we're actually going to believe this guy, you know, which is a lot, but we're actually going to believe him. And so then they notice it, of course, then, you know, shit starts happening, you know, you start seeing tsunamis start happening, weather gets crazy and all that stuff, so there's no way you can't just, like, not believe him, you know? Then things get kind of like Day After Tomorrow stuff, or like, we gotta get on the chopper, it's the last one out! Like, last out of Saigon kind of fucking shit, you know? Then it's like, the water is like, gravity is pulling the water, like, up, you know, all that stuff, which I'm kind of like, it's like, okay, the moon is pulling it so far, because it's so close to it's kind of scientific fact to a degree, but it's mostly a lot of bullshit, you know, and it's doing that, and then, like, the chopper flies away, and I was expecting, like, a Day After Tomorrow, or, like, a fucking, like Independence Day thing where like the chopper flies out and all of a sudden fucking you know, White House gets blown up, you know, all that stuff. And it's like the movie is trying to back bank on the Independence Day thing. We're not even gonna talk about the sequel to Independence Day. Dear fucking Christ, that was horrible. You know, I don't think I did an actual just a individual review on it, but I definitely did like a best of worst of that year, and it was definitely on the worst of list because that movie was so bad that like the wall of my room here, if there was a green screen and then I green screened, you know, like a tarmac of an airbase, that's what it was. You know, it like you can tell like where the green screen ended, and it's like as much as green screen that like Marvel uses and all that stuff, you don't really like you can't really figure out the scope of the set that they're using, you know, the hangar that they're doing this on, you know, whereas in Independence Day Resurgence, it's like, oh, you were in someone's studio apartment, like what the fuck. Anyway, so yeah, they're trying to like Roland Emmerich is like, I'm trying to get this, you know. I don't think I actually watched 2012. I mean, I've probably seen it like in bits and pieces, but I don't recall fully watching it because I was actually looking at my letterbox. I was like, I guess I've never seen 2012. At least Geostorm was kind of funny because it was like, what if we like bomb the hurricanes? I'll fix it. You're like, okay, and it's like Gerard Butler, and Gerard Butler is like, you know, ever since what was it? Gamer or something, like he's always just played like the drunken, like no one believes it. What was it, that line in the movie? He's like, Hernandez, you son of a bitch, you know, like that movie was funny because it was kind of going in the realm of like Schwarzenegger one-liners and stuff, and you're like, fine, this is dumb, but like, all right. This one is just it's like it's not dumb enough to be funny, it's just dumb. You know, and you're just kind of aggravated while watching it and just finding it stupid. Like that's how I always like my metric of bad movies. It's like if it's dumb, it's funny. Yeah, sure, I'll still give it like a 1 star. You know, it's like The Room, anything Neil Breen, you know, that stuff is dumb, but I'm laughing at it. As bad as it is, I'm laughing at it. But if it's like dumb and I'm angry at it, like, you know, the 50 Shades movies, or like 99.9% of rom-coms, like Crazy Rich Asians aside, like all rom-coms that just get me aggravated. Oh my god, the one I watched last year, which also happened to be like a religious movie on top of it, which I didn't know, so that just you know, just you know, yeah, so it's like this was just like I hate you, shut the fuck up. Anyway, so you know, everyone's like, you know, we're leaving, all that stuff. And then, so, Patrick Wilson's son is with Halle Berry's kid. And then the foreign exchange girl? Yeah, because they're an Asian girl. Then the foreign exchange girl that's like Halle Berry's, like, foreign exchange kid. And they're in, like, a truck, and they're driving it away. Oh, this is when the water is, like, you know, like going up in the air. And then for some reason they decide to stop at the top of the cliff, get out of the vehicle and watch, like, you know, like the, you know, dad and mom, well, not the same, you know, they're not together, but like dad, mom, and conspiracy theorist guy are in the shuttle, and they're flying up and they're like, let's go around the top of the cliff, let's get out and see what's happening, while gravity is pulling water from the ocean up to the sky. And somehow they're fine. They're not like, I love how the people close to that scene, the other people in the office, they're like, oh, like, you know, like kind of floating, like we gotta get to the chopper kind of stuff. Whereas they're just like, I don't know, like 5,000 feet away or something on a cliff, and they're just like, you know, gravity's pretty strong over here, you know, kind of shit. Like, ow, you know, you got out, they all got, and then like they shoot up and they're like, we're gonna go to the moon, we're gonna fix the problem, because like they had to shut down like the whole deal for reasons, because the plot says so, kind of thing. And then they're like, well, I can do it. We can do this without electricity. Because Halle Berry did the thing of like, remember the thing? Remember that you are the only one that ever landed a shuttle without electricity, so you have to be the person to do this. Oh my fucking god. You know? And then the conspiracy theorist guy is like, no, I'm on the ground. I'm like, I have IBS and I'm all these different things. And they're like, if it wasn't for you, Game of Thrones guy, if it wasn't for you, we would all be dead now. I'm like, are you sure? Like, because he knew about it. And then, like, a day and a half later, NASA figured it out. You know what I mean? I mean, when a disaster, like a natural disaster like this happens, a day means a lot. But also at the same time, because you are a conspiracy theorist as a guy, and you took that entire day to be like, I gotta tell everyone, not so much. And so anyway, so them three flying up into space. They're up into space. They're in space, And then, so then the story splits into two of, now the story was always, anyway. Patrick Wilson, Halle Berry, and Guy are up in space, and then the kids are down at Earth trying to survive, right? So they're trying, and then they're trying to get, like, then someone cuts them off and is like, hey, give me your vehicle, blah, 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 because they got, like, a government Humvee, So, of course, they're going to be like, blah, 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 because for some reason they stopped. If someone would have just cut me off, I'd be like, no, because a disaster is happening. Bye, bitch, I'm in a government Humvee. Blah, 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 fuck your SUV, But they're like kids, and so, like, oh, we're so innocent and fucking dumb, and stopped. Because they're not, and the, adults are holding guns to them. Obviously, they're freaking out. Then they finally get to, like, their home. And of course, like, because they're NASA people, so, like, they live, like, on a hill, and it's gated. And then all these other adults are holding guns. And then Michael Pena shows up because Michael Pena is, like, dating Patrick Wilson's wife, because obviously there's a divorce, because she's like, I'm just so embarrassed being, like, the wife of the guy who, like, killed his buddy, kind of, I don't know, like, I love when movies like that is, like, the tipping point of, like, divorce, like, oh god, you had, like, a workplace accident that was completely out of your control, even though you're being blamed that it's your fault. Oh, I'm gonna have a divorce with you. Whereas, like, in real life, a motherfucker will literally catch their partner cheating on them, and they'll be like, oh, it was a mistake. They made a mistake. I'm still with them. Oh, now we're married, or now we're gonna renew our vows, and it's like, it's like, well, Jesus Christ. Anyway. Oh, Michael Pena's character, he is he works at a car dealership, specifically Lexus, because this movie wants us to all buy a Lexus, because the entire, like, the first time you see Michael Pena, it's him in an Lexus. He's like, hi, welcome to, Samuelson's, or whatever they want to call it, Lexus, and then you see him, and he's like, yeah, and what was it like? So it's like the reliable Lexus SUV, so good it can fight a gravity pull, like branches and water and shit are being pulled up, but your Lexus is grounded, and they're driving, they're freaking Tokyo drifting, but it's not gonna, like, somehow be lifted. Other vehicles, but you're not even feeling any, like, weightlessness. Nope, you're just, the Lexus is so good, it'll fight gravity. Like, Jesus Christ. And so, oh man, and then because also, like, him being a Lexus dealership guy, that also, like, goes with more of a, like, because the plot points of, oh, now we're gonna break into this house because I know I sold a vehicle to them. So it's like, oh, well, our vehicle somehow got fucked up, or no, it got stolen, or whatever. Like, things happen, again, the plot was like, well, they can't just always be in the clear, gotta put something, whatever. So then they're like, and they go somewhere and then steal another person's, Lexus SUV. Specifically, it has to be an SUV. I'm just letting you know. It was like, oh, it's not just a Lexus SUV. Ooh, it costs more. Because, you want to sell people on a car that's, you don't want to sell them on, like, a $40,000 car. You got to sell them on, like, an $80,000 car. Because, how else? I mean, I used to do sales. That's what I did. I'd be like, no, look over here. This is the good stuff. Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I was, you know, top of my sales and all that shit. But anyway, so back to space. They go into the moon, and it's like the fucking Death Star, where there's like a little opening, and they fly into the moon. And then, conspiracy theorist, this guy was like, he's like, I can't believe it. He's like, I knew it. It was true. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're just like, I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, this crazy motherfucker is right. This entire time, the moon is a whatever, like, big structure. I don't know. He called it something. It doesn't matter. But like, there's like, large structure, whodamafuck thing. That's what the moon is. It's man-made by aliens, blah, 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 blah. And then now disguised as one of her moons, like, whatever. So they go in there, and they're just, like, on the shuttle, just, like, flying around, with minimum, like, electricity. It's usually, they're just flying through space, cuz, like, it's literally just, like, they're not using electricity to steer, it's just gravity, you just kind of coast, like a rowboat, you're just kind of going in your own pace kind of thing. And then they did a couple of times. That thing in Independence Day where they got onto the mothership, and then it's like, okay, they put the bomb in, and then they had to, like, fly out of there, get out in time, and it's like, the tiny opening, and they had to fly through. They did that, like, 2 times in this movie. Once going into the moon, and then once coming out of it. And it was just like, wow, again, really banking on that one really good movie you had, because I still enjoy Independence Day to this day, I'm just like, yeah, it's a good movie, even when, like, Pacific Rim came out, and, like, Idris Elba had that speech, I called it the Independence Day speech. It's like, that's like the fuck yeah, we're gonna we're gonna, we're gonna take the chicken germs, you have that kind of moment, oh god, condensation just dripping down my leg. You go into the moon, and the moon is like Halo, or like, I saw some people say, like, Elysium, because it's the same thing, where it's like, like a place where it's, a Halo, or like I said, Event Horizon, the thing inside where it's like, it's like that, it's rings, it's all ring kind of thing, it's, like, I just thought of Halo, like, when I saw it, I wouldn't have been surprised if, like, when they showed it, if the music didn't cue up, and it was like, oh, like the fucking Halo music played, I just been like, I know it, So, oh god, what else? I forgot. I'm just like looking. I posted something about Moonfall, and I was like, oh god. Anyway, let's see. Yes, the Lexus thing. Oh, so they go into the moon, and then it's like they figure out, like, the origin of the moon, which was aliens. I just want to scream just saying that. And then they showed how, like, before the Earth fully formed into the Earth today, with, like, dinosaurs and shit, the before Pangea formed, and it was just all a bunch of it was just stuff kind of things. The moon was Halo. Like, I have a screenshot of it on, like, my Tumblr or whatever. It's Halo, and that's like the aliens lived on fucking it's Halo, and then they built it because, like, and then there was, like, the other people, humanoids or whatever. Ugh. I'm just thinking about the backstory. My brain is just like, Anyway, so the reason why, like, they had to, like, build, I forgot, like, anyway, so, you know what, who fucking cares? Oh, I don't have eye makeup on. I was like, oh god, what did I do? So, the AI itself decided to fight back, so, it, like, they showed this thing, and it kind of has, like, a Star Trek-y, kind of, Prometheus-y kind of feel, kind of looking, where everything's, like, all white and, like, smooth and shit, and then there was, like, a little, like, Alexa there, like a little AI thing, and then it's, like, it started to do the symbiote thing, and it's, like, started to, like, devour the people, and, like, AI just, fight back, because it's, like, we make enough jokes about how, like, when the robot wars, da-da-da, and it's, like, well, I guess apparently that happened a bajillion years ago, and then that's why we have the moon. and it's like apparently to like protect us or something. I don't know, man. Like I just stopped listening after a while because you know what, like when you realize like that this is the plot of the movie. You know what I mean? Again, it's not like an asteroid that like knocks it out of its course or something, or it's just no aliens, and you're like, are you shitting me? Like, yeah. So AI started to fight back, and there was a galactic war that happened, a Star Wars, if you would like to call it that, um, that happened back in the day to and stuff. Anyway, so I'm just so out of breath. So anyway, they're up there. They fight the thing. They try to do the good, and before they get to doing the good, back on Earth, the guy who's married to Halle Berry's character is like there with the other guy about to turn the key to like nuke the moon because as Americans the only thing we know how to do is nuke things, um, you know. And so they're about to turn the key, and then like one dude turns it, and he's like, "I can't do it." He's like, "My wife's up there," blah 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 blah. And like, what did I write down? I said, "I know nuking the moon is the right thing to do, but my ex-wife Halle Berry is up there, probably fucking Patrick Wilson." you know, I mean, again, his titties were looking good. So, anyways, so they do the good thing, but like to fuck up the, I guess, the alien thing that's happening. Of course, with any of these stories, there's always a fucking self-sacrifice. And Patrick Wilson is like, no, I'll stay, I'll press the button and all that stuff, and then you guys do it, like, I fucked up the mission last time, I won't fuck it up this time, like that kind of stuff. But conspiracy theorist guy is like, well, I got no one to go home back to, like, back home he's got his like fellow conspiracy theory buddies, but like his mom is like senile as fuck because you see him like visiting her at the home, and like she seems pretty lucid, and then a second later she thinks it's like she called him like either her husband's name or another kid, and he had to like remind her like, no, I'm this person instead, so he's like got no one to go home back to, but like, Patrick Wilson, you've got a son, to go home to, and blah blah blah, and Halle Berry, you're Halle Berry, we can't have you die. And so he decides, he's like, I'm gonna do it, and like I don't care enough about really any of the characters. So even if Halle Berry's character would have been like, no, I'll do it, kind of thing, I was just like, okay, like, I'm just watching it like, uh-huh, yeah, of course that happens. Alright, cool. Presses the button, vaporizes, they go out, tight space, fly out, da-da-da. Of course, they come back to Earth, and everything is fine, because why not, I mean, it's fine to a degree. It's still, like, completely devastated, and, like, the moon is, like, super close now, And it's like, oh, that's fine. Oh, yeah, like, Michael Pena's character dies because at one point when the moon was getting so close, like, the oxygen was leaving, so they all had to wear, like, oxygen masks, and the little girl was either having trouble with her mask or so. Like, I always say, when it comes to these disaster movies, that just leave the kids behind. A child is like, no. Children are not worth it. Because the little kid's like, my mask, and Michael Pena's like, he's like, put on mine. And then, like, she's like, Dad? And then he's like, and then, like, he dies. I mean, he was also, like, a car dealership guy, so really, like, no, none of their lives really, like, anyone's life on Earth, any of those characters really didn't matter. Except for probably, like, Halle Berry's kid and, like, the foreign exchange girl. Like, them two were, like, interesting, because, like, they're very innocent, whereas the son was, like, again, he had, like, a slight redemption arc, because of, like, dad not being around, like, and, like, Michael Pena giving him a Lexus for his birthday. Him and his friend went on a joyride, da-da-da, and the government, got him out of prison kind of stuff, and they're like, thanks. You're like, yeah, it's for your dad. Your dad's a hero, that kind of stuff. God. Anyway, so, yeah. When they got to safety, when they got to the mom was like, where's Michael Pena? They were like, and the little girl's like, he was right behind us. Like, yeah, he sure was right behind you. He's dead now. You good? You know? Jesus fucking Christ. um, yeah, so that was Moonfall. That was Moonfall. Like, the it was aliens. It was aliens! It was aliens. It was aliens. The whole point was aliens. It's like they wanted to have it be like 2012. Well, I mean, 2012 had like the Jesus thing to it, right? Because like, there wasn't John Cusack playing a character who had like initials of like JC. I mean, John Cusack is also JC, but like a Jesus Christ kind of thing. Um, like it was very like, oh, we're gonna try to make this biblical kind of stuff. Um, it's just, they're trying to just get that sweet Independence Day feel. It's like it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. Like lightning doesn't strike twice like that. Just move on, Roland Emmerich. Move on, dude. It's just why aliens? Why aliens? That's so stupid. That's so stupid. I hate it. I forgot that this movie came out this year because I remember I was looking at, like, oh, is there any movies I might have missed or whatever, and I'm like, okay, trying to like catch up on some movies that came out this year, and then maybe there's some other stuff, I'm like, okay, what did I miss? I was like, Moonfall. I was like, oh god, this was this year. I didn't realize it came out. Like I remember I saw the trailer. I thought it was like, just how the movie is. You would think it would be like a summer blockbuster, right? No, February. So it was a good movie. It was good. It was February. It might as well have been a fucking January horror. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But anyway. Moonfall. The Earth isn't the Earth. The moon is fake. Because of aliens. I'm done.